Convertible cars aren't that useful in the UK, but I do really enjoy driving them. So today I'm going to talk about 5 for multiple different price ranges, 100k, 50k, 25k, 10k, and 5k that offer great value for money. Do hit like and subscribe for more videos like this. Let's get straight into the video. For our 100k car on this list, we have a personal favourite, the Porsche 718 Spyder. This is an absolutely stunning rendition of the Boxster and effectively the GT4 equivalent. These cars make perfect sense for someone like me. I love taking my car to track days, but don't go as often as I'd like. I do, however, get in plenty of miles driving on the roads, so why not get the Spyder, look cooler on a day-to-day, and still have something I can take to the occasional track day. These come with a beautiful 4-litre flat-six engine making 414 brake horsepower, taking them to 60 in 4.3 seconds, making the quickest car on the list, but not the most powerful. In fact, that belongs to our 10k car, so stick around for that. This is probably the most difficult convertible car on this list to actually put the roof up and down on. However, it does also have the coolest looking convertible with that typical Spyder rear end that is reminiscent of a speedster. Loads of parts come from the 911 GT3, including the front suspension and brakes, then the adaptive dampers, ABS and stability control programming are nicked from the GT3 RS, so these are genuinely no joke, though some owners do have complaints about the Spyder losing the rear end when cornering without warning. What's crazy is that the Spyder RS isn't too far off hitting our 100k price limit on this video, as it's down to around the 140k mark when it was over 200 grand a year ago. Long may that price drop continue. They'll run you around £70,000 at the bottom end, and 100k will get you a 2023 model that's done around 6,000 miles. Reliability is generally pretty good, but some owners do know issues with the clutches slipping and needing a replacement far sooner than you'd expect. Other issues I found on forums include a couple of leaks and some early electrical gremlins, but broadly the engine is robust and they should have been kept in their Porsche maintenance schedules. As we cut our budget in half to 50k, we're looking at a car I was able to cruise around in pretty recently, the Ferrari 360 Spyder without the Y this time. I am definitely a sucker for the moderners when it comes to the 360, otherwise known as the hardtop, but nothing beats letting that V8 sing behind your head with the open air all around you to enjoy. These come with a 3.6-litre V8 engine that makes 400 brake horsepower, taking them to 60 in 4.5 seconds, and having driven one, though they don't actually feel super fast, they are perfectly quick for their age. It is of course a Pininfarina designed car with lovely curving lines. It all comes together beautifully, though I will say they do feel ever so slightly less premium inside than the Ferraris that follow. The F1 automated manual gearbox is cool though, and it feels so analog considering you're pulling paddles. Somehow still feels like you're changing the gears yourself. I've also driven the manual example, and the gated manual is a masterpiece, of a little bit difficult to get used to. It makes a nice satisfying click between every gear, but it's definitely not a gearbox you can bang through at pace. Worldwide there were ever so slightly fewer Spyders than Moderners, which is interesting as though it's a rarer car, it's typically cheaper than the Moderner, likely just down to desirability of that tin top. These listed anywhere from around £47,000, so for 50k you'll be looking at a 2003 model with 50,000 miles on the clock. It's an older Ferrari, so problems are definitely possible, but the 360 isn't known to be terrible on reliability. Common expensive problems include failing cam variators, cracking exhaust manifolds, and the F1 gearbox going wrong if not looked after properly. Age-related electrical issues are also known, but if you put a few thousand aside each year for maintenance and care, the Ferrari 360 Spyder could be a lovely summer car. We're down to our 25k price range car now with the Jaguar F-Type S, which many people don't realise actually first came as a convertible before the coupe came along. It's a successor to the XK but way more exotic, and interestingly prices have really fallen over the last couple of years in the light of the Jaguar Land Rover cars becoming more expensive to insure, making them way less enticing to get into, so an expensive XK can often be the same price as a cheap F-Type. The S comes with a 3-litre supercharged V6 engine that makes 374 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 4.8 seconds, so only slightly slower than the 360, but we're still within half a second of the quickest car on the list. The original F-Type concept was convertible only all the way back in 2000, though of course the F-Type name has a long history, as it was always going to end up being the spiritual successor to the E-Type, which is a phrase that's been banded around from multiple sporty Jaguars over the years, so I'm not sure I actually trust it anymore. That being said, I do think with the roof down, the convertible F-Type looks better than any other configuration, similar to the E-Type, which I've always preferred in convertible spec too. These also came in both manual and automatic, but the manual is incredibly rare and won't be found for our 25k limit sadly, but either way the interiors are pretty nice in them, pretty minimalist, with only the screen really giving away the age. To get into one of these you need to spend around £17,000 at the bottom end, and 25k will get you into a 2013 model that's done around 65,000 miles. That V6 is known to be pretty decent on reliability, but the supercharger has caused issues for some owners. Replacement supercharger belts are normally the remedy, but not always depending on the problem. The automatic gearbox has also been a key source of issues due to the software that runs it. So I hope you guys are enjoying this video. If you are, then do hit the like button and subscribe as well if you're new. And let me know in the comments down below, what is the best looking convertible car of all time? We're on to the 10k price range now, and a car that was built as a cheap competitor to the Ferrari 360 we spoke about. It's the Mercedes SL55 AMG from the R230 generation, which is the 5th generation SL class, one of the most iconic classes of Mercedes you can actually get into, but in an era where the SL was a mass-produced Grand Tourer, so not quite as special as the SLs of old. That's not to say it isn't a great looking car, and it's the only car on the list that comes with a hardtop convertible roof instead of a soft top, so a bit better for our UK climate. The SL55 comes with the biggest engine on the list too, a 5.4 litre supercharged V8 block making 500 brake horsepower, the most on this list, which will get it to 60 in 4.5 seconds, matching the Ferrari. So it really did put up a fight against that 360. On release in 2002, it was the fastest automatic car in the world, just before it was beaten by the SLR McLaren, and though of course the SLR is in a completely different league, the design language is not dissimilar. In a boring colour they can go pretty under the radar, but get one in a more aggressive and rare colour like the blues, burgundies and similar, and you're getting something that would look quite cool and work for a beautiful Grand Tour. £10,000 is the minimum you need to spend to get into one of these, so you're only just getting into one for our price range, with most being up to around 15k unless they're in much better condition. On reliability, one key point of failure is the active body control system, which has been known to leak hydraulic fluid and be annoying to sort. Outside of that, owners mention a bunch of electrical issues, most notably with the hardtop convertible roof failing. And for our 5k car we have this, the Audi S4 Cabriolet from the B6 or 3rd generation S4. This generation came as a saloon estate and of course convertible, and that convertible is the only one that comes as a 2-door, which is actually pretty cool as it looks quite sleek with the roof down versus its 4 and 5-door stablemates. That being said, as it's a bit of a longer convertible, I'm not a huge fan of how the soft top convertible roof looks when it's up, but of course it's each to their own. The S4 comes with a 4.2 litre V8 engine that puts out 339 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 5.7 seconds, making it by far the slowest car on the list, but value for money wise that's still a lot of engine and horsepower for 5k. It's the only all-wheel drive car on the list, which means it wins in bad weather, but then you'd probably want one of these for good weather, so that might be a moot point. It's got a nice verging on classic Audi interior, made even more comfortable for a Grand Tour with heated sporty leather seats and the likes. That V8 also sings beautifully and is not quite as aggressive as the RS4, it might actually be the more usable daily. That's not to say it isn't performant though, with its bigger brakes and sports focused stability control. Add on the slightly more aggressive exterior and these are pretty nice cars for the money. These start at around £4,500 and at our 5k limit you'll find a 2004 model with high mileage. The big problem to note is the timing chain tensions, which are plastic, weak and mad expensive to sort if you catch them on time. That's because Audi cleverly put a timing chain in the car for longevity, but put it at the back of the engine with those weak tensioners, meaning when the tensioners failed, it was an engine out job to sort, not helpful. So there you have it, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, do hit like. Thanks for watching, thanks to the patrons for their support, and click on screen to see another video on some cheap supercars.